It is truly amazing to work with families where the parents have taken ownership for some of the problems they've caused in their children's lives. We hear a lot about codependent Christianity and the strictness of being raised in a very religious home, and a lot of times it can teeter along spiritual abuse. I work with a lot of people who bring their children and they say this child is defiant or an ungrateful brat, and I clearly know that maybe the issues are stemming from the parents. But with this particular family, it's such a joy to be able to give feedback separately to the parents that have really wanted the accountability to put themselves in check for what they had done. So they got married young and maybe were drinking and drugging a lot, and now that their children are teenagers, they've recognized that there's kind of a disruption in communication. So in calling in for my help, I just allowed them to freely apologize in front of their children, and it was just miraculous. These kids needed to hear that mom and dad could say, yep, I did that. Probably have screwed you up in that way. So therefore, I'm investing in your recovery, and you're going to work with Miss Angie, and we're going to allow her to give you the expression that you need on however great of a spectrum that is, so that you can find some inner healing that is sustainable. And IFS therapy, of course, is that inroad, because some of these kids, by the time they've shut down their emotion because they haven't had that freedom to share it in the household because maybe mom and dad were too loud, or they needed to have their needs accounted for or pretty much met before their own children, these kids can go back and turn into their inner worlds, their family system, if you will, and they can create that childlike imagination to heal thyself, so that their communication is brought to a level where then they can say to mom and dad, hey, this kind of hurt me, I'm struggling with this. When I work with people that really are concerned about the image that they're putting out in public, maybe in church groups, and then they create church hurt, if you will, those children tend to be really closed in. They tend to be isolated. And in fact, a lot of times you can use that extreme shyness attribute as a red flag, to be like, okay, why don't you share with me why you can't share outside of this safe space? Again, it's just completely mind-blowing to see that the Lord is able to come in through admission of guilt and then wash it away and cleanse it when the whole family is willing to work together.